You're watching ABC 7 News at 4, starting with First Alert Weather.
Good Wednesday afternoon. I'm sure a lot of you got caught in the heavy rainfall. Hopefully you didn't. And I'll tell you what, it was causing some flooding problems in Manatee County. We had over 2 inches of rain in just a short period of time. Good afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Thanks for joining us here at ABC 7 News at 4. We have had some earlier storms today, big storms, in fact, right along the coastline. You can see that activity still pretty intense near Englewood, Lesking and Bradenton and northwest Bradenton, as well as Anna Maria Island, and just offshore of Venice right now, some pretty heavy weather. But that's pushing to the west-northwest at around 15 to 20, but still raining heavy and hard in Englewood all the way into South Venice right now. There's another line behind it, too. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But I think once this moves through, there's still going to be a chance for a few scattered storms even through the 8 o'clock hour tonight. But generally, things will be a little bit quieter as a result of most of the energy being used up by the previous storms. There has been some damage to the north of us, north of the Tampa Bay area, and one person has been injured as a result of some heavy wind that moved on through. Also, the possibility of the flooding problems will continue over the next several days as we are anticipating more showers and storms coming in on the afternoon each and every day right through the weekend. I know the rivers are at bankful in some cases. We're talking about the Myakka River at the Myakka State Park. Also, the Manatee River at the Myakka Head above flood stage. We'll talk more about that and let you know about the tropics coming up in just a few minutes. Scott and Jacqueline.
All right, Bob, thank you. A Sarasota man is facing charges after sheriff's deputies say he cut off a portion of his dog's tail with branch clippers.
Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies were first alerted to Pablo Vega Padron earlier this month when a neighbor shared their concerns about the man's Chihuahua Terrier mix named Randy. When Animal Services arrived, they found that small dog had bandages on its tail and front legs. Vega Padron had told them that the dog's tail was infected. After a vet visit, it was revealed that a portion of the dog's tail was actually missing. Later, deputies say the man admitted to cutting off the dog's tail because it was rotting. Veterinary staff confirmed that the tail suffered a fracture and should have been surgically removed by medical professionals. Neighbors say they are now shocked.
It's understandable, different cultures do different things with different animals, for aesthetic purposes, and it's kind of just a custom. But there's a lot of things that are cultural customs that we just don't do anymore because they're cruel.
Vega Padron has since been released on bond. Randy the Chihuahua has been adopted and is expected to make a full recovery. New at 4, Port Manatee is getting more than $250,000 from the federal government. A $326,000 federal security grant will go to the port to improve its security. In a mutual agreement, that port will add 25% of that to update its access control system. Now, that system identifies credentials and workers and was installed back in 2012. Port Manatee is the closest U.S. deepwater seaport to the expanded Panama Canal and generates more than $2 billion in estimated revenue for the Suncoast area. Well, let's check in now with Scott for a look at primary results across the state.
Well, President Trump played a major factor in yesterday's primaries in Arizona and Florida. His endorsements helped several candidates win, but the Democrat who will run for governor in Florida, Andrew Gillum, got a very different endorsement from Bernie Sanders. He'll face off against Republican Ron DeSantis, a congressman who was Donald Trump's hand-picked selection for the governor's race.
I'm not always the most popular guy in D.C., but I did have support from someone in Washington. If you walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, he lives in the White House with the pillars in front of it.
Just a day after his win, DeSantis is under fire for his comments on Fox News this morning. DeSantis calling Gillum an articulate spokesman for far-left views, but he said that, in his words, quote, "The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda with huge tax increases and bankrupting the state." Some are calling the comment racist, while DeSantis says that as his comment was directed at Gillum's policies and not the candidate himself. Coming up on ABC 7 News at 4, we'll take a closer look at both candidates for governor and the race ahead. That is coming up at 5 o'clock. Well, the first of 5 days of memorials for Senator John McCain are now underway in Arizona. The war hero and former presidential candidate will lie in state at the Arizona Capitol building in Phoenix today. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is there with today's tribute.
paying final respects to an American icon. John McCain's body traveling from this funeral home in Phoenix here to the Arizona Capitol building. Lying in state today, a chance for friends and the people he served as senator for 6 terms to say goodbye on what would have been his 82nd birthday.
He was a great man. He didn't let this get in the way of that. He always tried to keep everything at an even keel. He was great.
McCain lost his year-long battle with brain cancer Saturday. Close friend and former presidential campaign manager Rick Davis on CNN sharing the war hero's final display of bravery.
I saw the progression of the disease and what it did to his body, but his spirit and his mind stayed strong to the end, and he was really an inspiration to us.
Ahead of this, the first of several days of services honoring McCain, close friend and colleague Senator Lindsey Graham on the Senate floor urging a continuation of McCain's legacy.
If you want to help the country, be more like John McCain. I believe there's a little John McCain in all of us. And the little John McCain, practiced by a lot of people, can make this a really great nation.
And tomorrow there will be a memorial service here in Phoenix before McCain's body is brought to Washington, D.C. for 2 more days of ceremonies celebrating the late senator's life. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Phoenix.
Pope Francis speaking out for the first time today at the Vatican following a bombshell allegation that he covered up for an American cardinal's sexual abuse. The Pope talking about his recent trip to Ireland amid calls by a former Vatican ambassador for him to step down. During his weekly audience, he spoke about the meeting with victims of sexual abuse. The Pope telling Italian news agencies he has no plans to resign. Charlotte County extending a local emergency order due to the red tide outbreak for another week. The declaration lets business owners who have been impacted by the outbreak apply for disaster loans. Small business owners who are eligible can get up to $50,000. There's no word yet on if Manatee and Sarasota counties plan to extend their declarations. A beach advisory that had been in place since Thursday at Don Pedro Island in Charlotte County has also been lifted. As construction continues on a new spring training complex for the Atlanta Braves in Northport, the team announcing its 2019 spring training schedule. Atlanta's 32-game slate will begin February 23rd. The Braves will play all of their home games just outside of Orlando at the Disney complex, except for the last one, which will be at the new stadium in the West Villages development. The Braves will host the Tampa Bay Rays on Sunday, March 24th. Atlanta plans to conduct its entire spring training in Northport beginning in 2020. Coming up, a fatal scaffolding collapse at an under-construction hotel near Disney World, how one of the workers survived that mishap. Plus, the Florida Highway Patrol responds to signage concerns at an I-75 on-ramp after a tractor-trailer overturns there.
After record turnout at the polls for the state's primary election, a look at what brought out so many voters.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
According to Golf Digest, 2 of the nation's top golf resorts are on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, the Auburn Opelika Marriott at Grand National, and the Renaissance Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa in Birmingham. Plus, the Marriott at Grand National was recognized as Hotel of the Year by Marriott International. Experience luxury and world-class golf Southern style. Visit rtjgolf/resorts or call 800-949-4444 to book your trip to the trail.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare.
You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Investigate TV tackles the tough topics.
What happened to my life was awful.
When your health is compromised, we investigate.
They are really drug dealers in white coats.
Corporate greed exposed.
How do you trust them to run this program?
The powerful held accountable with in-depth journalism led by award-winning journalist Lee Zurich. We're your watchdog. Search Investigate TV on your Roku device. Download it now.
We are entering the peak of hurricane season and, of course, watching for any potential development out there right now. ABC 7's Rebecca Fernandez shows us how the City of Venice is making changes to its storm plan.
Jacqueline Scott, the City of Venice is already warning residents to be prepared just in case and to make sure they know the changes on this year's emergency disaster plan. They don't want everyone waiting for that official hurricane warning to get the supplies needed for a storm. The first thing they advise is that all homes be secured and have no loose items on your property. Then pack an emergency kit with all the tools you'll need, like flashlights, medications, and water. And of course, know your evacuation zone and have a plan. The City of Venice does not have any hurricane shelters, so residents must go to evacuation centers off the island. Tonight at 6, I'll go into detail with what these changes are in the evacuation plan, plus tell you how residents can get to these shelters if they need to leave their home. Live in Venice, Rebecca Fernandez, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Rebecca. Now, just a reminder, there are still 3 months left in this year's hurricane season, so if you don't have a plan in place, get ready now. We have everything you need to know about getting ready for a hurricane on our website, mysuncoast.com, including a link to our hour-long Surviving a Hurricane special, also a printable 2018 hurricane guide. Manatee and Sarasota counties shattered voter turnout expectations. Both counties had more residents vote in yesterday's primary than any other in recent years. ABC 7's Jess Dowdrick joins us now to explain which races and what issues drove people to the polls. Jess?
Scott, both Sarasota and Manatee counties had about 32% of voters cast ballots in this election. It may not seem like a lot, but that's more than the counties typically see. While a handful of voters were motivated by a specific local race, whether that be school board, state legislature, or county commissioners, political science experts say the gubernatorial race is what drove most voters. There were competitive races on both sides of the aisle in the race for governor, and people are more likely to turn out to vote when they think an election is going to be close. There was also a lot of money spent on advertising in the gubernatorial race and more news coverage because of that interest in the races. Coming up at 6 o'clock, I asked local voters what race drove them to the polls. You'll hear what they have to say. Scott.
All right, Jess, thank you. We've posted all of the results from yesterday's Florida primary election on our website, mysuncoast.com. Now let's check in again with Jacqueline in the newsroom for a look at what's trending.
Scott, 2 construction workers are dead after scaffolding collapsed near a Disney resort in Orlando. Take a look at the scene. You can see where that scaffolding tipped over on that high rise. According to a tweet from Orange County Fire and Rescue, 4 workers were on the scaffold when it gave way between the 6th and 7th floor this morning. 2 construction workers fell to the ground and died. Luckily, one was able to hold on to the scaffolding until rescuers could help. Another was able to climb to safety. Here at home in First Alert traffic, the Florida Highway Patrol is responding to safety concerns after a tractor trailer overturned on the northbound ramp to I-75 off of University Parkway this morning. Here's a look at that incident. State troopers say the tractor trailer spilled nearly 100 gallons of diesel fuel mixed with hydraulic fluid. That accident caused the on-ramp to close for several hours as crews cleaned up. Luckily, no injuries were reported. Now, soon after that accident happened, we posted the story on our Facebook page, and some of our viewers voiced their concerns about that area. Greg says they need to put those yellow signs showing a truck tipping over to warn truck drivers. Now, this is the third time in the last 6 months, he continued to say. Yulia says, how many trucks have to overturn before they put a sign on this turn? And Tara responding, saying this is a reoccurring event in the exact same spot. Now, this crash is not the first to happen on this particular ramp. Back in May, a semi-truck tipped over in this same location, spilling its load along the road and causing delays for hours. ABC7 reached out to the Florida Highway Patrol. A spokesperson for FHP would not say if they plan to make any changes in that area, but he did tell us that today's crash and the one that happened back in May were both a result of drivers driving too fast. Now let's head back to Scott in the newsroom with a look at how you can save money on your car insurance. Scott?
All right, Jacqueline, thank you. Are you paying too much for car insurance? Well, according to the website myfinance.com, the average American overpays $368 for car insurance. So before you buy, here are some ways you can save. You can check out the discounts and negotiate. Keep in mind, once you have a lower rate in hand, you can use it as leverage for an even lower rate from another insurance provider. And always be sure to compare your coverage. Also make sure you're not getting a reduction in coverage when you're moving between two policies. Well, if you can't beat them, join them. That's pretty much the idea behind Sears' expansion of its tire installation partnership with Amazon. The program was launched in May and has now expanded to all 50 states. People who buy tires on Amazon can have them shipped directly to a Sears Auto Center for installation and balancing. Sears says it's seen a very positive response to the program from Amazon customers. Now back to Bob with more on our rainy weather today. Bob?
A little earlier today, Scott, than we've seen over the past couple of afternoons. The showers and storms really firing up right around 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon near the coast, too. That west coast sea breeze pinned right around the coastline. You can see that heavy rainfall at times, and then a lot of the activity is offshore, but there's still some storms around, and we do expect to still see some heavy rainfall at times. There it is. There's the first wave, if you will, pushing on through. We had it in Bradenton. We had it also in northwest Bradenton or Palmasola, Anna Maria Island. Not as much there, but boy, right there along Manatee Avenue and 53rd Street, there was some minor flooding going on there with some of the roadway. There's another cell right here. You'll notice just in the last frame, it's racing off to the northwest, and that is going to move on into, it looks like Clark Road here, I-75 in just a little bit. Near the Venetian, it is right now. And look at this cell, too. Very intense, heavy rainfall now into Hardee and DeSoto County, stretching all the way over into Highlands with quite a bit of lightning strikes there going on. We'll go and take a look. Venice, you're getting still some thunder around, a few lightning strikes here and there, not as intense as it had been as that heavy weather has moved offshore. But this is a pretty significant rain event taking place now along I-75, making for some tough driving conditions. And looks like what we're going to see is a little break here in Manatee County, and then this will start to move off toward the northwest and cause some problems down the road. I mentioned the rainfall was pretty heavy at times. Right there, over 2 inches estimated near Bradenton, downtown Bradenton, and that's where they had some street flooding there along Manatee Avenue. Well, there'll be a little bit drier air tomorrow, just a little bit, but still a good chance for showers and storms around in the afternoon and evening. No doubt about that. We're going to stay with that east to southeasterly wind flow as well, and that will set up for what seems to be now 5 days in a row of afternoon showers and storms. So the forecast calls for a lot of the heavy weather to move offshore, quieting down after 9. Not everyone's going to see the second round of showers and storms, but they'll still be around. And then we'll start off with sunshine tomorrow. Showers and storms developing, and we'll see that sea breeze be rather active in the afternoon and evening, producing some moderate to heavy storms and frequent lightning. That'll be the case on Friday, too, as this interesting line moving up from the southeast there. That appears to be some showers left off from the day before, but afternoon and evening storms are a real possibility. Now, yesterday, the European forecast model was suggesting that a tropical low was developing off the southeast coast of Florida over the weekend on Sunday. Different story today with the model run. The early run now showing just a tropical wave moving across South Florida. on Labor Day and continuing on Tuesday. You can see a little bit of a break there, a little bit of an inverted trough, and then it heads off toward the west. So it's backing down a little bit on the development of a tropical low pressure system and just keeping it as a wave until it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. There's a little bit better chance. Water temperatures there at 90 degrees and conditions in the upper levels of the atmosphere not all that conducive for development in the eastern portion of the Gulf. Once it gets into the central Gulf, there's a little bit better chance. This will definitely pick our winds up, though, as it makes its way into the central Gulf of Mexico. So that's kind of what we want to see is some stronger winds, and that will be the case, I think, on into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week as it moves in toward the lower Mississippi Valley. By the way, this is the anniversary of a storm that moved right on into that same location right there in Mississippi and Louisiana. Well, in the tropics, we're watching this system developing and coming off the coast of Africa right now. There's a pretty good chance developing in about 4 or 5 days from now, and it looks like it'll be an Atlantic storm staying off in the central Atlantic. Well, here's the boating forecast. East winds at 10 knots tomorrow. Seas will be 1 to 2 feet. Those winds and seas will pick up over the weekend as we start to see that low pressure trough move on through. So basically, pretty high chances of showers and storms riding in through the weekend and even beyond, coming down just a little bit on Wednesday of next week. Make sure you have our ABC7 weather app. Go to your store for complete updates for that and download it for free, the ABC7 weather app.
Bob, you mentioned the anniversary, and that's of Hurricane Katrina. That massive storm hit the Gulf Coast 13 years ago today. We'll never forget that one. Katrina was a Category 3 storm when it made landfall in 2005 with winds of nearly 130 miles an hour, but it had been a very strong Category 5 storm and brought that devastating storm surge on shore along the Gulf Coast. Some of the worst damage we saw in New Orleans after 80% of the city flooded when its levees failed.
I can tell you this about Katrina. It had the strongest and highest storm surge ever recorded, 28 feet high. That storm also changed the course of how we label these systems. Katrina was categorized as a Category 3, and that usually has the wave height or a storm surge at around 16 feet. But it had a storm surge at 28 feet, so people that looked at it and said, oh, it's a Category 3, said, oh, it's not going to be that bad, and they didn't evacuate. So it hit right into Mississippi with that 28-foot storm surge, and over 200 people lost their lives in Mississippi alone because of that storm surge.
Yeah, just an awful storm. Bob, thank you so much. A note from a UPS driver goes viral. Coming up, we'll have the hilarious reason why the carrier says they could not drop it off in a North Carolina woman's order.
I'm Joey Panic from Suncoast View. Coming up tomorrow morning at 9, we're going to sit down with the folks from Realize Bradenton to learn about all of the different things that are coming to Manatee County. Plus, we get a special surprise from the Sarasota County Arts Alliance, and we'll learn about the latest in local Lego competitions for Suncoast student engineers. That's all coming up tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops. Coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
Francis Collier and Angela V. Shelton have been best friends for 19 years.
Actually, it's 21 years, but who's count?
Taking America by storm, this comedy duo decided to call themselves Frangela.
Well, actually, people can never tell us apart. Like, I'm a foot taller.
They're the host of a new kind of daytime talk that's all about you.
I'm in.
Meet Time with Frangela premieres September 10th.
Oh, he sounds cute. My friend is single. Meet Time.
Well, we've all been there wondering why the package we ordered hasn't arrived yet. But the excuse one UPS driver wrote to a woman in Asheville, North Carolina is now going viral. The excuse? Well, there was an actual bear in the driveway, blocking the way. A good sport, the recipient Liz Birch says it just kind of sums up life in her part of the town. She says she had no idea her Facebook post would go viral. She just thought it was funny and wanted to share it. All right, Jacqueline's back in the newsroom now with a quick look at some of the other stories we're working on tonight.
Scott, as the race for Florida governor heats up, coming up tonight at 5, we'll talk about the tensions already forming between the two parties and the contenders. Then at 6, we'll give you a look at the new home share program in Sarasota that matches young professionals with seniors so that they can both save on rent. And tonight at 7, the cost of health care discussed at the Trapezoid. Let's send it back to Bob in the studio for a final look at your forecast.
Thanks, Jacqueline. The radar picture very active still offshore. Mainly that first line is really intense. Notice what happened here. We had some storms offshore and the outflow boundary from those kind of collided, causing these storms to really intensify. Still a very big area of heavy rainfall moving toward Wauchula, and this cell in particular is still pretty strong, racing off to the northwest at around 20 to 25 miles an hour. So we can still expect a few scattered storms, and then it'll get quieting down here, I think, after 7 o'clock or so. Still see some light rain around, but not much. Scott?
Bob, thank you. Thanks for joining us on ABC 7 News at 4. We'll see you again at 5 o'clock.